everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tastefully Balanced. I'm Miriam and happy Ramadan, Ramadan Mubarak. I hope this month is going great for you guys. You guys already saw my haul from last week or a couple weeks ago. So I wanted to share with you guys some of the staple iftar items that I absolutely must have during this time of year. So the first one is Piyaju, or it's a masoor dal fritter that's fried. Not the healthiest, but it's absolutely nostalgic for me to have during this time of year. And another is a kala chana type of dish. It's called boot in Bangla, but I will show you guys exactly how to make it. If you guys like iftar recipes, please subscribe and keep watching. All right, welcome back. So the first thing that I did last night was I soaked my kala chana in water for at least 6 hours. So I just do it overnight so I don't have to worry about it. But definitely you have to soak it and it gets lighter in color. It starts off really dark and gets a little bit bigger in size and then lighter in color. So you want to boil this for about 10 minutes. So I have a pot here and the water is almost boiling, so I'm just gonna add it when it starts boiling, and then it should take about 10-15 minutes. You just want to touch them around the 10-minute mark to see if it's soft. You don't want it to be cooked and mushy all the way because we are gonna cook it again, but just kind of soft to the touch. So I'll show you when it gets there. Alright, so while my kala chana is boiling in the back, I did add a little bit of salt to the water, but that's it. I'm just going to let it boil in the back while I make kind of the gravy or the jhol that goes in it. So what I have in front of me is a little bit of oil that's heating up. It's about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of oil. Whatever size your pan is, you just want to make sure the bottom is covered in oil. I'm going to add a onion to this. That's just diced up. And then fry this for a couple minutes before I add in the rest of the masala and the ginger garlic paste. Alright, it's been just about a couple minutes. The onions have softened just a little bit, but enough for me to add the rest of the ingredients. So right here I have some salt, turmeric, chili powder, coriander, and cumin that I'm going to add. And then I also have ginger garlic paste. The green is actually just garlic. I made this a while ago, but it's completely good. It just turns a different color. If you mash up or blend ginger garlic together, you can avoid that green color, but it does nothing to the taste, so I'm not worried. So now you're going to cook this for an additional 5-ish minutes, but I'll show you guys when it's ready. All right, it's been about 5 minutes, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and add in my tomatoes. I've got a couple of Roma tomatoes here that I'm gonna fry up for another 5-ish minutes. All right, it's been about 5-6 minutes. The tomatoes, you can see, have completely melted down. So now is the perfect time to add some diced potatoes. So I really like having potatoes in my boot, but I know a lot of times people don't usually add it. I think it adds a little bit of creaminess and thickness to the jhol, so that's why I always like to add it. So you can boil your potatoes with your boot, but I like to just cut it really small and just add it to my masala and saute it. So you're going to saute this for another 5 minutes, and I will show you when it's done. Alright, so this looks good. It's been about 10 minutes. So now I'm going to add in my kala chana, my boot, to this. And then I'm going to add in about a cup or 1/2 cup of water, just so it doesn't stick. And I have a little bit more gravy at the end, or jhol at the end as well. And then I'm going to cover this up for another 5 to 10 minutes. You just may want to make sure that the boot is completely cooked through. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this up. All right, so while my boot is cooking in the back, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the Piyaju. So I have some masoor dal that I've soaked in water for a few hours just to soften it up. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of blend it. So I'll show you exactly how. So I'm just gonna take maybe about half of it. So I put about 2 cups in water. So this is 2 cups of masoor dal. And what I do is I would take about half of it, maybe like that, and I add about like 1/4 cup of water or something, just so it's easier to blend. And I don't have a blender, but I do just have a NutriBullet, and I'm just gonna blend it. Perfect. So I just kind of wanted this consistency where it's still not completely like a smoothie. You can still kind of see like the whole masoor dal kernels, but it's still blended. So I'm gonna do the other half and I'll show you exactly what the mixture looks like at the end. All right, so if you look at this closely, you can see it's not completely mush. I still have some kernels that you can still see. All right, so now that my masoor dal is nice and blended, to that I add a whole onion, and I like to slice them up like this because I like my Piajus to be very, very Piyaju or onions. And then I have a mixture of spices. I have coriander, turmeric, chili powder, salt, and cumin. So now I just mix this all up. And then to my left over here, I have a lot of oil. So you want to fill a pan up with oil and have it set at medium. This is where we're gonna fry our Piajus in, and once my oil is ready, I'll show you exactly how I do that. Okay, so now I'm also gonna add some cilantro. And that is it. So I think my oil is ready to go. I'm gonna test it a little bit. Oh yeah, okay. All right, so all you really do is kind of take handfuls at a time, and you can, to make them consistency, you can also, or the same size, you can also take like a measuring cup, but I can just kind of eyeball it. So take like a dollop like this, mash it down a little bit with your hands, and then carefully drop it in the oil. And don't crowd your pan or else the temperature will drop. Do them about 5 or 6 at a time. So again, like this, and then you just drop it. Like that. And then. All right, this looks perfect. So the reason I like to julienne my onions is that it gives it an extra crisp that I feel like if you were to dice it, it wouldn't be the same. So that's why I personally like to do it this way. But I have a little paper towel to soak up any of the excess oil. This is definitely not something you want to have all the time, but it's a special time of year, so. All right, I'm gonna let these cool down a little bit before I go ahead and taste test it. But I'm excited. Yum. Can't wait. All right, so I just took the boot off of the stovetop. So this is what it looks like. Yum. I did add a couple of bay leaves before I closed the lid. But next I'm just gonna add cilantro just to give it a little bit of a color. Mix it around, and that is good. Look how creamy that is. It took a good 10-15 minutes to get to this point, so do let it take its time. But look, the potatoes are perfectly soft. They like squish and break apart easily. That is perfect. All right, so I'm gonna let both of these dishes cool off a little bit before I taste test, because I definitely don't want to burn myself. All right, so I took a little bit of boot out in a bowl. To that, I'm gonna add some puffed rice or muri. Traditionally for iftar in Bangladesh, they have this with some muri just to add a little bit of crunch. So let me try this first and then I'll try the Piyaju. All right. So good. Perfectly cooked. It's nice and soft. Still holds its shape, so it's not mushy, but when you bite down on it, it's very nice and soft, and the potatoes are cooked perfectly. The masala, everything is so good. And having it with the muri is just, takes me back, guys, takes me back. But my favorite by far are Piajus. I don't know what it is about these, but oh yes, it's just crumbling all over the place, which means it's perfectly crispy. All right, you guys have to hear the crunch. It is so good. So crispy on the outside, nice and soft on the inside. All the masala, the onions that are crispy on the outside. Oh, this is so good. So what we used to do is break these apart, have it with the muri, with the boot, everything, mix it all up, and it was the perfect iftar. So if you guys like iftar recipes, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, live life tastefully balanced.